Mardi Gras may be over, but we're still letting the good times roll. Make that letting the good times egg roll. Because we're serving up an easy, fun way to make an egg roll without the roll. It's Chef Kevin Belton's legendary egg roll in a bowl. How's it going? You survived Mardi Gras.
Barely.
Uh-huh.
Barely.
But you're ready to roll.
All those people riding on my back, throwing those throws.
But you're ready to roll this morning.
We're ready to roll. You like that?
Yeah.
Roll. Little vegetable oil in the pan. Have the pan getting hot. Now, think of all the different things you could put in an egg roll, okay? But we're going to do traditional this morning. So what I'm starting off with, and normally in a lot of cooking, you won't do this first, garlic and ground ginger.
Ground ginger?
Yeah.
Ooh.
But we're going to put this in the pan first because we want to get these flavors.
Asian awesome this morning. I can smell it. Oh, yeah. Oh.
Can you smell that?
Mm-hmm.
Now, we're going to do ground pork. Now, there are shrimp egg rolls. You can do tofu egg rolls.
Veggie egg roll. I mean, anything goes.
Anything goes. But what's nice with this is we want to make sure that we get this pork cooked all the way through. That's the most important thing. Because the fact that, matter of fact, now that we've got the pork in, we can go ahead and turn the fire up. Because I didn't want it too hot when I put that garlic in. We want the garlic and ginger to hit the heat, to open up those flavors, but we don't want it to burn. So that's why I had the pan warm, but not too hot.
And you can find ground pork just like you can find ground turkey, ground beef, you know.
Ground chicken.
Yeah.
You know, and you know what? Some folks, I have a buddy, he's not a fan of like ground things, like ground meaning ground turkey and stuff like that. But you could take pieces of chicken breast or chicken thighs, cube them, do the same thing with. You could take shrimp, give them a little slice. I've done this recipe and I've run the shrimp in a food processor.
Oh, that's interesting.
And they don't take long to cook, but basically the reason I do that is because when you do cook them, that shrimp flavor is everywhere because it has time to get all over. Now the other thing I'm gonna start flavoring this with, a little sesame oil.
Told you we were going Asian.
Yeah, and that's another wonderful flavor. So once we get our pork cooked, we're gonna go ahead and then start adding some other things. I mean, we have shredded carrots, we have onions, we have cabbage. Ooh, smell that sesame oil? Ooh. Toasty.
We are rocking and rolling this morning in the Good to Eat kitchen. We're going Asian this morning on Good to Eat. Did you know the modern American egg roll was invented in the early 1930s in New York City by one of two chefs, Lung Fong or Henry Lowe? Our Good to Eat chef, Kevin Belton, says, let's roll, as he's serving up a different take on this Asian tradition. He calls it egg roll in a bowl.
You know, you eat so much of this, you want to sit low and long. I'm sorry. I couldn't pass that up. You know, it's really interesting how things get invented.
I know.
How folks will go like, well, let's try this and put this together with this.
Well, in ancient China, they served these spring rolls. These guys brought them over to America and started frying them and making egg rolls.
Yeah, yeah. Now look, I'm gonna do something a little different. We're gonna do some sriracha, but I like to put it in with the meat. All right. And if you don't have sriracha, you could just use, you know, good old Louisiana hot sauce. But it's just a little different flavor.
Wish you could smell this. It does have that, man, you're like you're in an Asian restaurant.
A little thinly sliced onions and some shredded carrots. Things that are typically found in an egg roll. And this is something where, you know, a lot of times with Louisiana dishes, we like things to get soft and cook a long time. Well, here I like the onions not to get soft, but to still have a little bit of firmness to them. So when you bite it, you get that, not a crunch, but you can feel that texture. And you can definitely taste that it's an onion. And if you really want that onion flavor throughout everything, take a mandolin and slice the onions on a mandolin. Oh yeah. Smelling that?
Oh, you get the ginger and the sesame oil. Oh man, it's all giving that good.
Matter of fact, hey, let's do a little more sesame oil. I probably use a little too much sesame oil.
It is awesome Asian this morning in the Good to Eat kitchen.
That's it. But you see, we just want this to saute. Look how those onions are starting to cook apart. The sriracha, the sesame oil.
That sriracha gives it that little subtle heat that's going to really be.
Yeah. And I tell you what, we're getting close. We're getting close to where we have to put our cabbage in. But look, gang, our pork is totally cooked now. There's no pink left on this pork. So that means it's just about time for the cabbage.
We're letting the good times egg roll this morning as Chef Kevin Belton's going Asian with his egg roll in a bowl. It's like we're in a Chinese restaurant right here.
It does. And look, everything's cooked down now. And now let's go ahead and start getting in some cabbage. And you know, this cabbage, I like it to have a little bit of a crunch. But if you want to cook it down to where it really cooks down, you can. A little soy sauce. And that's going to help this cabbage steam a little bit. By getting that liquid in there, we could throw the lid on top. But you know, you could do this in a wok if you want. And that way you have wok and roll. I'm sorry.
There you go again. You always take a walk on the wild side.
Boom, boom. Boom. I love it. Look, a little more cabbage. This is one of those things where, you know, the kids that won't realize they're eating their vegetables.
Well, there's nothing like fresh cabbage too, man.
And you know, we're so used to, in Louisiana, you know, grandmother would smother it down with some pickle meat and all. But this is a different way to use the cabbage. All right? Come on, baby. You fell out of there. Get back in there. All right? We'll put some green onions in now. All right? And then we'll put some in right when we get ready to serve this. But look at that. So imagine that, JP, what we talked about running those shrimp in the food processor.
Oh, yeah.
How those shrimp would be just all throughout it. And you know what? Who says you can't take beef? Freeze a piece of a steak, take a nice sharp knife and cut it thin as you can. And then just, saute that off in here. So whether we do it with shrimp, whether we do it with pork, whether we do it with tofu, whether we do it with chunks of pork, or go ahead and cut that beef real thin,
We call it around the world.
in a bowl.
In a bowl. Legendary New Orleans rocker Dr. John used to sing, I was in the right place, but it must have been the wrong time. Well, you're in the right place at the right time because we're serving up Chef Kevin Belton's legendary egg roll in a bowl. Right place, right time.
Right place, right time.
Boom.
Little sesame seeds, a little more green onion.
Oh, man.
How about a spoon for you?
I tell you what, it's got all that Asian flavor and this aroma is...
Yeah, I mean, it's anytime you've had egg rolls, whether it's been shrimp egg rolls, whether it's had tofu inside, whether you want to do it with, we talked about beef, you know, a nice thin cut beef.
The soy, the ginger, it's all there and it all comes together. It's just got a great bite.
And I tell you what, the sesame seeds give it that little finishing flavor along with the scallions, the green onions. It's cut real thin, but hey, we started off in the pan, a little oil, little vegetable oil, then we went in with our ground ginger and garlic to wake them up. Then we put in our pork and sauteed that pork down. So whether you're doing shrimp, pork, beef, whatever, saute that down. Then we went in.
I tell you what,
this spoon is just jumping out of here.
it's so full of flavor. He's ready to get out and serve some more. And I tell you, it's so light.
No, you know, hey, after eating all the king cake we've been eating, this is something a little bit different. It's like you said, it's nice and light because no matter what you want to use it, what do you want to season it with, that cabbage makes you feel light. It's not heavy.
And like you said, for Lent, maybe you could use shrimp, you could use crawfish. I mean, there's you could use a number of things in it.
Seasoned with sriracha, sesame oil, soy sauce. And that gives it that nice flavor. And the sesame seeds add a flavor that people don't expect.
You try this, you will be rocking and rolling.
Yes, indeed.
To get this egg roll in a bowl recipe, head to the Good to Eat page at WBRZ.com. It's Asian. It's awesome. It's all in a bowl.
So let's roll.